the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Because you can be as Sharpe Way or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Because you can be as Sharpe Way or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Because you can be as Sharpe Way or
you're on. Go ahead.
Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio. So happy to have you here.
You're on. Go ahead.
Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio. So happy to have you here.
Go ahead. You're on. Go ahead.
Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio. So happy to have you here.
Go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio. So happy to have you here.
Go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio. So happy to have you here.
Go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio. So happy to have you here.
Go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead. Okay, I don't know what happened. Are you there? Okay, yep, go ahead. You're on.
All right, great. Welcome everyone to Sharpe Way Radio, here on the Voice of Liberty in Western New York, 585-346-3000. Sorry for that technical issue that we all of a sudden had out of nowhere. I don't know why that happened, but it does happen sometimes. But I'm happy that I'm with you right now. Look, a lot of stuff's going on, as you all know. Obviously, you all know. Right now in California, LA. And people are worried. They are concerned that this may happen to New York City. I get it. I understand that fear completely. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen here in New York City the same way it happened in LA. And reminds me of a story. Here is the story. Remember Malcolm X? Some of you may go, wait a minute, I heard about that guy. Yeah, I heard about that guy. When he first came on the scene, he was very much aggressive, forward, speaking about pro-Black issues, being more about Black people having their own ownership, things like that. All good. I'm not mad about that at all. All good. But he also was very anti-white on top of that. He wasn't only pro-Black, he was also anti-white. Now that changed. He went to Mecca. He was a Muslim. And when he came back, he was changed. He was saying, hey, it's about love and it's okay if you're white. I still want Black people to own their own stuff, but it's okay. But he had spent so many years being that way that it was very hard for his followers to change. He had told his followers to be anti-white for decades. And when he had his epiphany, or when he had his thought of, we can change this, they killed him. I'm not joking. That's what happened. That isn't the first time, or will it be the last time? Look at one of his people came after him, Louis Farrakhan, one of the top ministers of the Nation of Islam. For a long time, he was following those certain footsteps. And then sometime in the 90s, maybe during that Million Man March time, he tried to shift and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe we can work with the system. And they threatened him. And he changed his mind. He saw what happened. Gandhi, also killed by his own people. Many times this happens. Why do I bring this up? Because for literally now 10 years, establishment Democrats have been calling Hitler Trump and Trump Hitler constantly for 10 years. You can't work with him. He's evil. Orange man bad. Everything's bad. So now what? You can't work with him because now you're a bad guy. This actually goes back to Obama, believe it or not. The Republicans did that, if you remember, to Chris Christie. When Obama showed up to help out Chris Christie, FEMA, all that good stuff, and Christie hugged Obama. Republicans held that against Christie, oh my God, forever. They never forgave him for that. You think, well, that's just that one time. Well, what about Michigan Governor Whitmer? That's the name, right? Whitmer? She showed up at the White House with Trump, had to cover her face. She was all scared. She had to cover her face up because she was all worried that people would see her. Boom, ended that. She's in trouble now. Well, Newsom now can't ask for help from Trump. I know some people are saying, why didn't he do it? Trump is saying it. Why didn't he ask for help? I would have come and they couldn't have handled it. He can't ask you for help. That's the end of his career. Malcolm X can't change. That ends him. Newsom can't call for help. That would mean you're not a Nazi then. And they've been saying that for 10 years. I can't ask you for help now. It's the end of my career. Mayo can't ask you for help. That's the end of her career. That's where we are now. So the people of California, they're going to suffer. And you might say, well, they voted for him, so whatever. Okay, you feel that way. But there's millions of Californians who didn't. There's millions of Californians who didn't vote for him. You going to punish them too? And I know people go, well, yeah, let him move. Well, we're stuck in New York. We're just like them. We're just like them. So Newsom can't ask for help. It ends his career. Of course he's not going to. Now, I'm not saying it was bad enough for him to end his career. Or even, bad enough for him to ask. If you ask him, Newsom will tell you, it's not that bad. When Trump brought the people in, he made it worse. Right? Trump wrecked it. All Trump's fault. And here's the problem with that. That might be true. How would we know? We'll never know. Because without question, he would have said that no matter what. That's the problem. Newsom is going to say he doesn't need Trump, whether he does or not. So is it possible that maybe he didn't need Trump and that Trump made it worse? Maybe. We'll never know. Is it possible that he actually needed Trump and was afraid and wouldn't ask and actually was happy that Trump brought him in, brought the National Guard in? So now he can, I'm going to fight Trump and I'm going to stop him. See, I'm the tough guy. Maybe. We'll never know. And that's the part that bothers me. Politics now is so bad. I've got to make Trump evil man. I've got to make him a fascist because I've been saying it for 10 years straight and never stopping. If I don't say it again, I'm finished. So I'm never going to ask him for help. Doesn't matter if my people suffer or not. And if I don't need the help and he sends it, I'm going to act like the world's ending anyway. Doesn't matter. As long as it ends with me saying, Trump bad, I'm going to fight him, that's what I want. However that happens, If my people suffer, they don't suffer, As long as I'm fighting Orange Man, that's all that matters. So you know who's looking at that right now? New York is. Of course. New York's looking at that right now and going, oh, this could get bad. And then I'll have to ask Trump for help. And Kathy Hochul was like, I will never do that. I will never ask him for help. I'd rather watch my entire state burn to the ground than do that. So she is going to use, and so will any New York mayor, the entire New York City police force to ensure that doesn't happen. That's why I know it's not going to happen in New York City, because they watched LA and said, oh no, I don't want to have to ask Trump for help. because then my career's over. So police state it is. That's how it works. You might go, well, Larry, I mean, cops are cops, right? No. Los Angeles only has like, what, 7,000 or 8,000 cops, whatever that number is. I forgot. 10,000 cops, something like that. New York City has over 35,000. Oh, no. We have an army here. We're good. We got an army here. We're fine. We can put a cop on like every street. No worries. We got that covered. So we are going to absolutely do whatever it takes to make sure that these protests stay protests and do not go riots. Already New York City is arresting people to make sure. Any agitators, gone. Already. We are not letting that happen. So for those of you in New York are like, this is going to spread to New York. Nope. Not going to happen. They're going to make sure that it will not happen. Now, even if agitators pop up, and they might, who knows? According to Trump, they're all paid. Now, are they? I don't know. I wouldn't be, I mean, it could happen. But again, he'll say that no matter what too. So I don't know if that's true. But let's say it is true. And they're going to write checks or whatever to the people to go do this. Okay, they do it. They're going to show up, arrested immediately. Not even going to play games. They're going to get arrested immediately. New York City police force is not going to put up with it. Kathy Hochul is not going to put up with it. The cities are not going to, New York City is not going to riot the way LA did. And again, LA's riot, to be clear, just for fairness, it's a small area of LA. It's similar to what happens here in New York. There'll be like an Occupy Wall Street here. And if you live in the Bronx, you don't even notice. You live in Queens, you don't even notice. Staten Island, you have no idea. Oh, is there a protest? You even know. LA is similar in that regard. If you don't live in that area of LA, you only know because the news tells you. You can't even tell. It's not a thing. But in that area, it is violent. So there's the piece. The news makes it look like all of California is burning. That's not true. A small part of LA is burning, but it's a small part. That's the difference. Am I wrong on this one? Will it come to New York? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only
no problem, stuff happens, thanks.
You for the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs. And thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Most banks offer you a choice. Or maybe it would be better to say they demand a choice. Technology so you can bank like you want to, or relationships so you can get advice when you need it. But when you choose to bank with Tompkins, you can have it all. Powerful technology and the power of a face-to-face talk about your future. Because both are part of the best banking relationship you'll ever have. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Open an account today at tompkinsbank.com.
Only available in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com. Official top quality tees, hoodies depicting the colorful WYSL logo or the already famous Mount Worstmore line of merch depicting Mount Rushmore style are for worst presidents. Of course, you know who is front and center up on that mountain. WYSL official items make perfect gifts, or they're a great way for you to make a personal statement. Locally produced and sold only in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty here in amazing Western New York. 585-346-3000 is the number. And I was talking about how I do not think at all there will be anywhere near the violence or excitement level of that in New York City that's in right now, LA. There are protests and will be protests. New York City is always protesting somewhere. Almost always in Manhattan somewhere. Almost always downtown Manhattan. Almost always. And that happens constantly. That's fine. It's the norm. But the cops are already there. They're already prepared to stop anything that gets out of hand. Is there a chance it gets slightly out of hand? Maybe, but that's it. And you might go, well, that's because in New York they care about law and order. They don't. That's not a thing. No. They care about how does it look. They don't want Trump to make this work for him. And here's the second piece. Trump's not mad at this. And you can tell. He's not mad at it. Why? Immigration is his strongest issue. It just is. And I spoke about this on my show last night. The reality of it is most Americans still are on his side when it comes to immigration. And if you're one of those who isn't, I get it. Still doesn't make it not true. Most of America is still on his side when it comes to immigration. So he's happy this happens. He looks good. He's doing his job. Americans are happy. Most Americans are happy. One exception. I don't think the Marines should be put in at all. That is a line you don't want to cross no matter what. And a lot of people are on my side on this one. National Guard, fine. Even in, no worry. Do it. It's fine. Not the Marines. That is the wrong answer. We don't want to do that. So I want to make sure that's out there. That's a terrible idea. We don't want to go any further than that. National Guard, square things away, and move on. But Trump looks good here. He's able to talk stuff. He's able to get his people looking good. He's able to let Holman off the leash. This is not a bad thing for him. And the issue is, I think, initially, many Democrats thought, okay, good for the riots. Let it happen. It'll show that we're fighting. It'll show that we're beating Trump. It'll show that he's wrong and Americans are against him. And that's not working. But I do think they thought that. I think they believed if we do this, finally, people will get how bad he is. And that's just not going to happen. It hasn't happened. And New York leadership looked, and I'm sure they were like, okay, hold on. Let's watch. Just in case. If Trump starts looking bad, we'll let New York blow up too. This way we can really make him look bad. And then we're kind of hanging out. Will it? Will it? Oh, this is not working. No, call the cops out. That's it. Call the cops out. Didn't work. Shut it all down. That's what I really think is happening. So Rocket Man says, New York City will also riot. They are mostly unhinged. He says, the leftists will move to the suburbs and vote back the same policies. Well, there are two pieces here, Rocket Man. Number one, okay, to riot and to be effective, the cops have to somehow drop the ball or let you, right? That has to happen in some way. Or have to have rules of engagement like they had during BLM to not touch, let them do things, right? That kind of stuff. You have to have those types of orders or that type of policing. That's not what New York City is, my friend. Right? Not now. No, the cops are literally not going to do that right now. If you start doing stuff, you're going to jail. That's happening. Their rules are not, their rules of engagement are not let it go unless it's bad or let it go unless someone's being killed. Their rules of engagement are stop this immediately. That is their rules of engagement. And that's why I disagree. He goes on to say that they'll move to the suburbs. I think you are seeing some of that. You are seeing some of that. But when it comes to New York specifically, you also now seeing the reverse. You're seeing a lot of those people who had moved to the suburbs during the lockdowns coming back to New York City right now because finance is saying, we're paying for all this commercial real estate. You better head back to the office or you're fired. Now, I want you to imagine something, Rocket Man. I don't know what your background is. For the sake of argument, you're not in finance. So imagine you're in finance. You're making a nice, hefty six-figure, salary a year. You've been working mostly from home for the past 3 or 4 years. And now your boss says, get your butt back in the office. And you moved out to the suburbs already. You got rid of your place in Manhattan. Why have it? You haven't lived in a city in 4 years. Why would you have a place there? You got rid of it. So now he's like, come on back. And you know AI is nipping at your heels. Do you go, I'll just quit, stay in my suburb area, and find another job, and hope with AI nipping at my heels to make a nice, cushy, fat 6-figure salary? No. You pack your trash and you head your butt into Manhattan. That's what you do. And that's what they're all doing. So I think some of that is coming back. But on top of that, when people move to the suburbs, generally speaking, they don't move to suburbs. They generally move to rural areas. And the rural areas are very red. And because they're so red, the best they'll ever do is make it a swing district. You see that happening in some parts of New York. In other cases, they can't make a dent. It's still deep red. You have to redistrict to make it a swing district. And you see some of that too. But it isn't as easy as you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong in what they try. I'm just saying it isn't as easy as you might think that it's actually happening. It is challenging. They're trying, but it's not easy. Gene says, our government is already controlled by corporations. That's what fascism is. Our country is ruled by a few. That's what an oligarchy is. I feel we the people are in deep doo-doo. I feel that too, Gene. I do. I feel that same concern. And I talk about it often. I hope that we can make a change, and we do it at the local level. There's no other way to make it happen. So, yes. John says, Democrats will only come to Trump if it's for a check. Yes. Okay, got to be clear on this. You're right, John. I should be clearer. I should be clear on this. Democrats will go to Trump to get a check, but they still won't be seen shaking his hand, giving him a hug, right? They'll just go there and say, I went to D.C. and I got the money from Trump. And they'll lie and say how I beat up Trump, boy. I am the greatest negotiator. They'll say that kind of stuff. They're not going to go, I spoke to him and we made a deal. Yeah, they won't do that. They're going to act like they beat him up. They didn't, clearly. Kathy Hochul learned that lesson the hard way. She learned that lesson the hard way. But you're right. When it comes to getting a check from Uncle Don, oh, yeah, they'll go do that. But it is the public, the PR stunt they have to avoid. Oh, but they want that money. You are correct. I should have been clearer. Yes. John goes on to say, I don't think it will either. New York City is completely different from LA, despite similar voting demographics and governments. True. They're different in their policing, the difference in their backgrounds, and believe it or not, when it comes to the actual city, in many ways, LA is further left than New York City, in many ways. So New York City is left, obviously, but there's a financial district here, and the financial district tends to not be. That's the difference. They have the entertainment industry there, which tends to be heavily left. So I think they're actually, in many ways, the city's more left than New York City, that is. I think that's true. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think you may be correct. I like that idea. All right, let me grab here if I can. Mastermind Hour says, the cops are already taking headshots with rubber bullets. That's my point. What are their rules of engagement? You see in LA now, the cops pull up, and from top of that bridge, they throw the bricks, and the cops walk away. That's not going to happen in New York City. It's not going to happen. You start throwing bricks at cop cars in New York City, those cops are dismounting and coming after you. You going to jail. I'm just telling you, that's going to happen in New York City. They're not letting that happen there. Now, the left thought that was good press. They thought, see, Trump is making everything worse. We'll get him. This didn't work. That's all I'm saying. You think I'm wrong? Maybe. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
God bless America. AM 1040 Avon, Rochester. WLEA WCKR FM, Cornell. Canisteo Valley Update.
Steuben County Emergency Services Director Tim Marshall says the county continues to clean up from the overnight rains that hit. A state of emergency still in effect for Canisteo, Cameron, Bath, Urbana, Pulteney, and the town of Wayne due to excessive rainfall and multiple road washouts. Also, Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard says...
Okay, we have a couple phone calls. First one's going to be Keith, and then the next one will be Mike. So, as usual, when you say, thanks for the call, Keith, I'll dump Keith and get Mike ready.
Hugo or Seneca Lake, please use a lot of
You're welcome.
caution and reduce your speed. And county officials are reminding people to drive carefully when going around public works vehicles and highway department vehicles too. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll see mainly clear skies. Get that full moon shining out there. A little bit hazy. There will be a bit of that wildfire smoke in the air. Temps in the 50s and low 60s on Wednesday. A beautiful day. Hazy sunshine. Temps near 80 degrees on Thursday. Mostly cloudy. Nothing more than a sprinkle with temps in the 70s. I'm Rich Cornelia for the Voice of Liberty.
Updike's Willow Ridge Quality Care Facility in Hornell is an adult home for the elderly and mildly disabled, offering 24-hour care and all the comforts of home. They have semi-private and private furnished rooms, all located on one floor, 5 dining areas with delicious home-cooked meals. Also a conference room for private gatherings and meetings, located at 131 Hornell Street, Hornell. Call to arrange a tour at 607-324-5417 or visit their website, updikeswillowridge.com.
Come on, get up, get going, see the USA, the Myers Way.
See the USA the Myers Way this summer in a pre-enjoyed RV.
The Myers Way.
Now through July 2nd, get huge discounts on over 500 pre-enjoyed RVs in stock.
Myers Way.
With used RVs starting at under $7,000, Myers RV has an RV for every budget. Travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes. Up to 20 years of financing available on certain used models. All Myers pre-owned RVs are New York State inspected and ready for camping. There's a reason why Myers RV is the #1 selling RV dealer in the Northeast. Learn more at MyersRVs.com.
As a roofing contractor, the shingle you recommend is important. As a certified GAF contractor, Callan only installs the GAF Timberline HDZ 50-year non-pro-rated roofing system with the industry's only unlimited wind warranty and a 25-year algae production. It's the most advanced GAF shingle, period. Call Callan Contracting at 585-813-2761 or visit their website, callancontracting.com. Mention WYSL and save 5% off roofing or gutters.
This station is here for you 24/7. We bring you local news, weather, sports, and entertainment. This may change if New York adopts new advertising rules that add more cost to local businesses. The new rules won't even apply to big tech companies. Why give them special treatment? They don't serve our community. Tell your New York State legislators to stop giving big tech free rein. Tell your New York State legislators to oppose S1228C and A606B. Sponsored by the New York State Broadcasters Association.
Are you new to town and resorting to big box stores and online shopping to revamp your home? Get big city experience and unlimited options at Decorator's Choice in Hornell. We offer the largest selection of flooring in the area with installation. From custom furniture and window treatments to Benjamin Moore paints and products, our design team will create your dream space. Shop your entire sleep system with our split head and traditional mattresses, offering bedding and pillow lines for your best night's sleep. Decorator's Choice has everything you need to revamp your space. Visit our showroom at 37 Seneca Street in Hornell and like us on Facebook.
Here's notice of a cancellation. The Canisteo Rod and Gun Club has to cancel the chicken and biscuit dinner that was scheduled for today. Again, that chicken and biscuit dinner at the Canisteo Rod and Gun Club today, they've had to cancel it. They want to thank everyone who has gone to these dinners throughout the season, and they look forward to seeing you again when they start up again in September. So once again, that chicken and biscuit dinner at the Canisteo Rod and Gun Club that was scheduled for today, they have had to cancel.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty in amazing Western New York. 585-346-3000 is the number. I have been talking about the riots in LA and whether they will come to New York City. And I want to make up a quick point if I could. Wendy is telling me that this is not really rioting. It's line dancing and lecturing the ICE agents. Wake up, the media is lying to you. And I go back to what I said, Wendy. It is a small area. That's true. LA is not burning. And many people in LA don't even know it's happening, except the news is telling them. But in that small area, it is rioting. In that small area, it is. But it's not 92. You're correct. I want to make sure that's clear. There is rioting in that small area. The rest of the city, it's kind of whatevs. Let me grab a couple calls if I could. I'll grab the first one. This is Keith. Keith, how are you?
I'm fine enough. Hopefully you are too. Several things. People should know that NYPD at one time had as many as 42,000 officers, but because of COVID and defund the police and officers not feeling appreciated, you lost 25% of your department. You gave a correct figure, 34K currently, but you lost a solid 8,000 officers. I just thought I would throw that in. Now, insofar as the problem there in Los Angeles, there are 125,000 gang members, and with all the illegals flying the Mexican flag as a way of letting us gringos know that they've already taken California and want it returned to Mexico. You've heard of the group La Raza.
Yep, I do.
Meaning the race. They want those southwestern states returned to old Mexico. So you said you didn't want the Marines in there, but short of actual street fighting, even a la World War II, how are we going to get rid of 125K gang members and all of the illegals who are now claiming California as their own? They're not going to leave of their own volition. So
let me touch about both of those. You are correct with New York City Police. Absolutely, we lost a lot. And a lot of it is because we're having trouble getting new cops to join. True. We're also having trouble with people retiring early because they're feeling like, why bother? I think you're right. That's true. But 35,000, 34,000 is still a lot. But yeah, you're right. 100%. The next piece, La Raza. La Raza isn't as large as people think, but it does exist. You're right. And these people, this group, they absolutely do want to kind of take everything back. I agree. Why would I not want Marines? Because Marines are for actual street-to-street fighting. Marines are actually there to break things. This I see still. And if I'm ignorant, if I'm optimistic, I don't care. I accept those titles. This is still an internal domestic policing immigration issue. I don't want trained Marines there. Then hire more cops. Then train better cops. Then borrow cops from the next door neighbors. Bring in the National Guard. Do what's required. I'm not saying, Keith, that we lay down. I'm saying make this a domestic policing action, not a military action. Does that make sense at least?
Well, I think many Americans have lost their warrior spirit. That's going to take too long. I advocate sending in the Marines and the 82nd and the 101st Airborne. You're going to need street-to-street fighting to fight those gang members and get California back. If we don't have Trump doing it, no other American president will get California back in the American fold. Secondly, there's the old maxim that generals are always fighting the last war. They don't
Yeah.
prepare for future wars. In closing, that's my way of saying, I've said to fellow conservatives, don't get fat and sassy just because Trump was elected in November. We could still lose America to socialist way of thinking. I talk to these young people. A lot of them have gone socialist. Maybe in future years, they're not going to want to be police and soldiers. They're going to outnumber the cops and the military. In 20 years, everyone, in closing, we could have a truly socialist country. These young people are not backing down. They're stupid. They don't understand capitalism. And I think, in closing, they're willing to let go of traditional America just because they don't know how good they have it now and how very bad it could be in 2 decades.
I appreciate the call, Keith. Thank you so much. Let me cover a couple pieces with Keith real fast. One, are the young socialists? Yes. And why are they? The issue here is because they have not seen any success in the current system. So they are now looking for anything. And as you've heard me say 1,000 times, when people have a bad idea versus no idea, they take the bad idea. That's how it works. So I do think that. Do I think Trump is aggressive enough to try to take California back, to your point? Maybe. But the problem becomes, if there are casualties that are not these gang members, and if he starts sending in military units, you can guarantee that'll happen. Now he starts losing. This, in my view, I know people disagree with me. I think you cannot put the Marines in. This is made for domestic issues. If that takes longer, I accept. If that takes 5 or 10 years, I accept. This needs to be a domestic policing issue. Otherwise, in the long run, I think it goes south. That's just my view, Keith. Thank you for the call. Let me grab another call if I could. This is Mike. Mike, how are you, sir?
Larry, hey, how's it going? Actually, I wasn't going to mention L.A. so much, but I'm gonna agree with you on the Marines. I'm going to disagree with Keith. Okay, I believe that L.A. should have the state cops, and the National Guard. Keep the Marines.
And if you gotta get cops from other towns, bring them in. You got to get cops from other states. Borrow them from Nevada. Borrow them from Arizona. Whatever.
Right. Marines are there for killing people and breaking things. Yep. My other point was back to New York City. And if you've seen the rioters in L.A., if you've noticed, besides the Mexican flags, there's been a lot of Palestinian flags.
Yes.
Do you think the certain people in New York City is going to allow that? Okay. It's coming up to election year. Kathy Hochul needs money. Who controls the money in New York City? Okay. Besides the tactical issue of New York City's condensed in Manhattan, you know what? A couple thousand cops can quarter off a section and then just slowly pinch or move them and bop them out that way. But it all comes to money. Okay.
I'm not saying you're wrong at all on this one, Mike. I get you, right? You're saying that it's not going to happen because that's part of to talk about New York City politics.
Another call on hold.
Politics, you got to make sure that you're keeping your constituency happy, and the constituency does not like the Palestinian flag. You are correct. You're correct. It's true.
Okay, that was my point. I just wanted to bring that up.
Thanks for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. So I think Mike has a valid point. He agrees with me on the Marine thing, and he thinks that
Philip,
the current system is not going to happen. I agree. Let me grab one more call if I could. This is Phil. How are you?
Good. Calling all the way from Schenectady. How's it going?
I like that. Way, way away in Schenectady. How about you?
Pretty good. Yeah, no, this is a topic, too, that I think we really need to be very suspicious of this because I think we've already seen a militarization of police forces. I mean, L.A. even was one of the early places where we saw SWAT develop, and it was Vietnam War veterans bringing tactics from the battlefield home. And I just don't think that this is a good precedent. And we also saw this during the War on Terror, when all of a sudden all of these armored vehicles were coming to, podunk little towns, small towns all of a sudden needed an armored personnel carrier. I mean, this is Mayberry. This isn't, this is Andy Griffith Town here. And what do we need a tank for?
Well, the issue to remember that part is that was heavily about cash. The military had to dump all its old stuff so it could rebuild and get new stuff. So it was basically giving most of that away. They weren't buying it. Most of it was gifted. The military industrial complex gifted it away so it could rebuild. That was the biggest piece. That was another reason why the generals wanted to leave all of the goods in Afghanistan when we left. Now, clearly Trump didn't want to do that. Biden didn't care. The general was like, leave it. This way we can order all new stuff again. So that was the biggest issue. I think you're right, though. If we get scared now, oh my God, La Raza's taking over the world, then the military industrial complex will say, great, take all of our old stuff so we can buy our new stuff. I think you're right. It is a fear.
Yeah, and I think this is a big thing too. Is we saw, I think we also saw too in general after January 6th and all that stuff. All this stuff can be turned on whoever they want, and so this is just a very dangerous precedent. And I think that conservatives, and I count myself as one of them. Really, need to say, because we always talk a big game about how the government's going to come for us, and we talk about the tyranny in 1776. And, we got to understand that, this is a little bit of, the redcoats are coming a little bit.
No, I'm with you. And they will use it against us after, right? They will first say, oh, we're going to get the bad guys. We're going to get the immigrants or whatever. And then they'll go, oh, well, now we have these things and the immigrants are gone. So let's go on you. I agree, Phil. Thanks for that call, brother. Look, I think we do have to worry. And I think most of us are thinking the Marines are a bridge too far. I agree. Let the local people handle it. Let the National Guard handle it. And if it's got to be, a couple years, okay. But once we start bringing in the military, we've made a step I'm unhappy about. Am I wrong? Is Phil wrong? 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Donald Trump and conservatives may have won, but the left will unceasingly try to undermine society and spread evil, targeting the innocent and God-fearing, especially our children. Help promote a truth-based society and try something different in 2025. The WYSL stations can grow your business, professional practice, or organization, so allocate your ad dollars here. Reach our huge audience, entertained, inspired, and informed by leading conservative thought. Affordable, effective. The WYSL stations, the voice of liberty. Call 585-346-3000 to advertise.
I'm Greece Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Joe Robach. If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber. We are the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we are better together, and together we can move your business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today. You'll be glad you did.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop specializing in pre-owned firearms and repairs. Get your rifle, shotgun, or pistol serviced and tuned before you take it to the field. Open from 10 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Avon Gun, East Main Street, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty in amazing Western New York. So happy you're giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. Boy, have we been talking. We have been talking about whether the riots that were happening in LA, if they are riots or not, if they are bad or not, what will happen in the future? Will it come to New York or not? And it's a big deal. Wendy was saying how they're not really riots of 92. And I think that part's true. We should keep that in mind. She's right. It's not Rodney King. It's not that, right? LA is not burning. That's not a thing. I know Trump's been saying that. He's exaggerating. I know Trump exaggerate. It's true. He did. LA is not burning. Now, if you hear what Trump says, he will say, if he didn't step in, it would be burning. Maybe. I don't know if that's true. Maybe. But then, of course,
Dave,
the opposite, that it was going to be great until Trump stepped in, and then it made it worse. So who's right? I don't know. Nick says, I've seen the video of LA rioters carting Mexican flags. Yeah, it's not good PR. Nick is right. This is helping Trump. And I know some people on the left think it's not. You're wrong. This is helping Trump. So let me grab another call if I could. How are you, sir?
Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, I just called to let you know the Marines were justified because Trump ordered out the National Guard. And from what I saw from the TV, they were throwing things at them too, and they were acting just a fool like they were before. So once you diss the American soldier, then the Marines come out to protect them. That was justified. That there was no call for any of that crap there.
Here's what I'll say. If that's happening, then we've got to train our National Guard better. I would rather have the National Guard deal with this. Once the Marines come in, this is now military in our cities. It's not a good precedent, Dave, at all. And I want to be clear. I get where you and Keith are coming from. And it might take longer for us to quell this without using the Marines. It is my view. I would rather it take the time. I'd rather us go through the training and fix this over time without using the military, just using National Guard and local police. I think in the long run, short run, you're right. It may be tougher. I think long run, it helps. Am I at least making sense, Dave? I know you disagree, but am I at least making sense?
Put them in jail. They don't do it anymore. They stopped this.
Well, put him in jail as cops. That's not Marines.
Yeah, but the cops weren't doing anything.
Then we got to get the cops to do stuff.
They weren't doing anything Friday and Saturday. So whatever you're saying is unjustified too, because they did not do anything. They didn't help. They didn't protect that lady that was being bullied that one day. Did you see the lady that the whole crowd surrounded just because she had a different opinion and she was Mexican? Did you
that was
see
in
that?
New York, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes. That wasn't in New York. That was actually in L.A.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah. But look, again, that's still cops. Then you can actually have, if you want to, if you feel it's that bad, you can have the National Guard begin to arrest. That can be done too. You can make other things. Not having active duty Marines who are not trained. The only way Marines are trained domestically is to capture cities. That's the wrong answer, brother. Again, not saying you're wrong on what you're saying. I'm saying I'm asking for a longer term, better answer than a short term Marine. To quote Craig, he says it sets a bad precedent, and we shouldn't be deploying Marines against the wrong people. I agree with Craig.
Respect any authority at all, and they showed it. The Marines were justified. Period. If you can't look at.
I get your point, brother. Oh, he's upset.
Sorry, National Guard had to get called out first.
Okay, look, I hear what you're saying, Dave. I appreciate the opinion. What I would say is I get why Dave is upset. I do. But if we bring the Marines out and things go south, if you support Trump, it's going to make him look worse. It's going to make him look worse if civilians start dying when Marines come in. You might go, but Larry, it looks bad now. It doesn't. Trump sent the National Guard in. If you support Trump, that's the right answer. If you don't support Trump, you hate no matter what he does. It doesn't matter. He can bring the Marines in, don't send them in, whatever. You hate him, okay? And lots of people hate him. That's obvious, right? Of course. But if you send the Marines in, you could lose your own people. And anyone who hates Trump, you just gave them ammunition. You just gave them ammunition. Mike Voss is in the house. He says that, Larry, agitators want Marines to wreck them. Yes. Thank you, Mike. You get it. So they can clip videos and try to get empathy/support. Yes. It's exactly what they want. He says this will backfire with majority of Americans not already progressive. Not Marines, brother. I think that's the bridge too far. You're already seeing a lot of Americans feel like Dave and Keith. Hey, these guys are crazy. I'm glad the National Guard's in. Trump currently is winning the PR war on this one. Clearly true. Whether California gets better or worse, Trump is winning the PR war. And if he's savvy, he'll stop here, keep National Guard, win this battle, and move on. If he moves Marines in, he risks losing this battle. The PR battle, sorry. He risks losing the PR battle. That's all I'm saying. You can see it everywhere. It's the wrong answer to bring them in, to bring the Marines in. It's my view. Look, we'll find out what happens. He goes on to say, is the current rioting justified for Marine inclusion? Not yet. I think there we agree. It would have to be, like what Keith's saying, it would have to be like 100,000 gang members literally controlling blocks of the city. If that were the case, send Marines in. At that point, it's an occupation. But until that happens, I can't see it. Mike goes on to say, not yet, but allowing years of unrest is no answer either. And this is my point. The right way, in my view, is a slow, steady repair of domestic policing. That's not going to be 5 minutes. To your point, Mike, it's been years of a broken system. It will take years to repair it. But if you take the years to repair it, you get a better outcome in the long run. Even though I get it, short run it sucks, long run it works. Here's my prediction. Within a month, next month by this time, these protests/riots, forgotten. Totally forgotten. Walked away. Unless Marines come in and kill. That's the issue. Yes. Mike says, I wanted to add, they think Marines will act like police. They won't. Correct. Mike and I are both Marines. We know they won't. That's not how we're trained. We're not. Now, are there Marine police units? Yes. But those aren't the ones who are going in. There are military police in the Marine Corps. Now, they're trained. Maybe you bring them in. Okay, maybe. But they're talking about, infantry units. That's a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Jimmy says, there's no reason yet for martial law. It's the reason for impasse comitatus. Oh, I like that. It's not insurrection, sedition, or anything like that. They're riots. LAPT has to handle it. It's all politics. Again, police issue. This was a good conversation, guys. I'm glad we went back and forth with this. It's important. And it's going to wind up coming to our state here in New York, too. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.